Hey, what's going on? Ryan here, at the PACE and we're doing some quick Facebook tips, talking about your training and avoid the temptation to go too hard, too early. Too hard can mean several different things. It can mean too much volume too quick, too much intensity too quick. Basically, on day one, you don't want to be going with a plan that's week 7, 8, 9, or 10. Because you want to do a smart ramp up and everything and not end up getting injured or burnt out. So we're going to go over a few tips real quick. You can see here in the background. So we're going to go over these really quick. I recommend 6 months of race specific plan. So most of my plans, and specifically for my athletes, if we're more than 6 months out, we're looking kind of more of an off-season type of program. So it's probably shorter workouts, more intense workouts, a little bit longer stuff on the weekends, but not nearly what you see kind of in a ramp up to a 7.3 or full Ironman race, depending on what your distance is. So in the 6 months, you're going to be starting off kind of, baby steps, just getting in some volume, getting used to that, getting your body used to a little bit of change. We introduce a little bit of intensity. And then about 4 to 5 weeks into it, you're really getting into, here's my power ride for the week, here's my speed run for the week, here's my speed swim, here's my strength swim, here's my strength run, here's my tempo run, that type of thing. So you develop enough muscular endurance to get to those events, and you've hardened yourself, and I've got strength exercises in there to make sure that you're staving off injuries and just being good to yourself all the way around. So over time you will get there, but on week one we're not hitting speed interval threshold intervals 4x10 a local track and on your first week. There's no way. Now if you're a seasoned athlete it might be a little bit different, but typically just be smart. You got 6 months to really get ready for that race, so there's plenty of time. So don't go too hard too early, and you got 6 months for a race-specific plan. Get used to training the discipline. So especially if you're new, just getting used to running, riding, and swimming. Most of us know how to ride for the most part, but just riding efficiently, or running efficiently, or swimming efficiently. And swimming is probably the biggest one. A lot of people, come in not being very efficient at the swim, so that's kind of understandable. But a lot of people, when they go out and run, they have inefficiencies in their run form. So the beginning of a plan is a good time to kind of get that looked at, either video analysis by your coach, or I do it for my athletes. Just look at that run form, just make sure that everything's good and on point. So when you go out and do that speed work, after an hour of speed work, you're not going to develop an injury, or especially weeks and weeks of volume. You're not going to develop injuries because of overuse problems or because of a specific way that your maybe running form is a little bit off. So just make sure you get used to training in disciplines. Like I said, ramp up smartly, we kind of covered that. You want a nice ramp up. You don't want to go that week one and then you want to go a nice ramp. And I have little sections where you kind of come down a little bit, kind of recover, and then go back and ramp up. So it's a nice, smooth, easy. It's not boom straight up. A lot of people end up in the situation if you kind of goof around and you're waiting too late to race day. All of a sudden it's like 2-3 months away from full iron. You're like, oh man, I need to get out there and train. That's when you slam in there too much and you end up injuring yourself. So ramp up smartly. Smart plan of interval count, interval length, rest length, and drills. So my intervals are set up to be, you're not doing the same intervals week 1 compared to week 7, compared to week 12 to week 24. So the first real threshold run might be 1 by 2 minutes, or 3 by 2 minutes with 1 minute walking rest in between. So very short, manageable time segments. But when you get to the end, it might be 4 by 10 with 2 minutes of walking in between. So you're really going to build up to that. So just make sure, if you're doing your self-coach or you're doing your own plan, make sure you got smart intervals, smart interval lengths, and you're working your way up, and it's not, bam, you're doing it, 10 minutes of threshold all out in the first 2 weeks or something like that. That's definitely a recipe for disaster and burnout and injuries. Ease and volume no matter how short the training window is. So I mentioned, suddenly you've kind of waited around, you got 3 months to your full Ironman, and you're like, hell or high water, I'm going to do it. Don't just jump into a plan that says here's where you should be at 3 months out, and you haven't really been doing much at all, and suddenly you're doing an 80-mile bike ride one weekend, and you're doing a 15-mile run. Make sure you're smart about, well, okay, let's start off with a 30-mile ride, maybe a 7-mile run, and then, you kind of start ramping it up. Next week's a 50-mile ride and a 10-mile run. Be smart about how you ramp up depending on how much time you got left. So easing the volume is going to be a key on that one. Make sure you're medically cleared. So that's a big one too. A lot of us go out there and niggles, injuries, asthma conditions, whatever. We just kind of blow them off. We just want to start in our training. Make sure that you're on board with this. Make sure you have a primary care. Make sure they know your history. Chat with them, tell them what you plan to do, and see what they say. See if they think, oh, well, I don't know if that's a good idea, or here's a plan. We got a way to manage Crohn's disease, diabetes, whatever you got. If you got a situation, heart condition, we've got a way to manage it and make sure that you get to your finish line in the most appropriate way possible for you. So make sure you're medically cleared. Make sure the gear is there. Make sure you got good running shoes that fit you. Make sure you have a good bike that the size is right for you and has been fitted to you. Make sure you have the right swim gear. You can get paddles that are way too big and end up injuring yourself from that because it's way too much force to be putting on your joints and elbows and everything and not working up to it. So make sure you've got the right gear before you jump right into it. Speed work, like I said, maybe a ways off. Probably in the first 2 to 3 weeks of a plan, you're really not doing an incredible amount of speed work unless you're an advanced athlete and you already have that base. Just don't go in there and be like, I don't care, this plan says I'm supposed to run easy 4 miles. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to run as hard as I can. Or I want to run a 5K and see how fast I can do it. Just make sure you're being smart about ramping into that speed work. And we talk about intervals and stuff. Have a solid plan for the length of time you have to train. So it kind of goes to the other thing. Make sure that you put the right training in the right time frame. Don't just ramp up if you have a short window. Training plans are the key. Like I said, for my athletes, usually I'm working with them way out in advance. Sometimes I get them about 4 months out from a full Ironman, and they've kind of been dinking around. So I've got to, kind of massage a plan to get them from that time that I get them to race day to make sure we stay injury-free and ready for the race. That may mean you're a little bit undertrained, but it's better to be undertrained than overtrained or injured and burnt out when you come to race day. So make sure you're looking at your time window that you have and you're planning appropriately and making sure that you're ramping up smartly and getting to the race. Because like I said, it's better to be undertrained and motivated versus overtrained and burnt out and tired and not wanting to do the race. Last thing you want to do is show up on race day and be like, if I get this thing over with, I want to be done with it. I'm so tired of this stuff. I want to be done. That's not a good sign. So hopefully this helps you out. Quick little Facebook video, going too hard too early. Don't ramp up your training too fast, too quickly. Make sure that you are smart about it, and that way you have plenty of time to get it done. You come through injury-free, you come through motivated, and everybody around you still likes you because you're not miserable because you're tired and sore all the time. So hopefully this helps you out. If it didn't, don't give me a thumbs up. Put a comment in there how I can help you out better. If you did like, give me a thumbs up. If you're seeing this on YouTube, give it a like, a subscribe. Put a comment on there if you like it or something like that, if you want me to add more information. So hopefully with that, you guys are out there training. You're having a good recording this video. We're on a Wednesday, so hopefully you're having a good training for the weekend and everything else. You're getting ready for your races. I know here we're in the fall, so we're kind of ramping down. I got Ironman Florida coming up, so I know we got a few last races for the fall, and then we ramp into next year. So get ready. It's coming, and nothing can stop us. We'll see you then.